Welcome to the show. The Mad Chatter is here. Madness. It's the Fantasy Madness Show.
Hello, and welcome back to the Fantasy Madness Podcast with me, your host, the Mad Chatter, Ryan MK. That's right. Thank you for joining me. It's always much appreciated. Follow me on the Twitters and the Grams at RMK Madness, please, if you do not already. Yes, Week 10. Just a few weeks left of the fantasy football season. It's getting down there. So I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. That's yes, I hope. Myself, I did. Yes. It was good. Did some video games with the kids. Sunday morning, I woke up to fresh, brand new New Japan Pro Wrestling because the Best of the Super Juniors tournament has started right alongside World Tag League. And if you're a fan like me, this is good stuff and exciting news. So you like that. You like that a lot. And then, of course, the football. And it was some fucking crazy football, right? And I needed a good weekend. I did full transparency. It's been a rough few weeks. Having some struggles, and it's kind. I've just had some things, a little bit of the negativity and just being down creep into me and just it affected me a little bit, just a tad. And so it's been kind of tough to get things done as I normally want to, and I had a really good weekend, and I felt really good, and things seem to be clearing up a little bit, and so there you go. We push on, and hey, better days ahead. Hey, remember this. It could always be worse. Whew. No matter what the situation, could always be worse, for sure. And a crazy football Sunday it was. It really was. And you had some really good stuff going on. First of all, couple of huge runs, right? Ronald Jones had that big run. You had another one. What was the other one? I don't know. But you had the Hail Mary. And how often do those ever pan out, the Hail Marys? Just a lot of good stuff. Teams bouncing back. One team staying undefeated. It goes on and on. Crazy Sunday of football that I thoroughly fucking enjoyed. So why don't we go ahead and get right into it? Because that's what we need to do. Get into the madness.
What the fuck?
Okay, Week 10 madness. That's right. Let's go ahead and let's just fucking dive right in, right? The early games, and this was really weird. This is 2 weeks in a row. I don't know how this is working for anybody else, but 2 weeks in a row for me that I've had one early game on TV and 2 afternoon games, and you know what? Not a fan. Give me those 2 early games so I have shit to watch early because I just want the football early. And then I enjoy the afternoon game, and I like to take a nap during it, and then I get ready for Sunday night. I don't like this 1 a.m. game and then 2 afternoon game. I don't like this stuff, and it's a.m. for me because shit starts at 11 o'clock here in Colorado. Anyway, let's get to the early games. First up, you got the Giants and the Eagles in New York. And the Giants took care of business, won this one 27-17, and somehow the Eagles are still in first place in that piece of shit division that is the NFC East, and they got like a 3-5-1 record or something like that. What the fuck? It's insane. Anyway, the Eagles' offense did not look good. Sanders, he played solid in his return, but he's getting touchdowns vultured by Corey Clement. It's just terrible. It's just, I don't even know what to say about the Eagles anymore. I'm sure they'll have better days, but fuck's sake. Oh. Daniel Jones, on the other hand, wasn't bad. Slayton went 5 for 93. And hey, they won the game. They won the game. The Giants defense has been playing pretty well as of late, I would say. I would say. So, I don't know. Not a much, just kind of a yuck game, even though there's some points. I just, moving on. Jacksonville at Green Bay. Jacksonville put up a hell of a fight, but obviously not enough to take down the mighty Green Bay Packers. James Robinson continues to do his thing. He went over 100 yards again, and Chark is once again leading the wide receivers in Jacksonville. Laviska Shenault obviously out this game. Keelan Cole was the one with the TD, however. And then for the Packers side, it was actually Marquez Valdes-Scantling with the big day. 4 catches, 149 yards, and a touchdown. This is what we like to see from Marquez Valdes-Scantling. This is what I was hoping for more of last year, and it just didn't materialize. But thank you. I will take it now. Thank you, MVS. And, Adams was solid, got a touchdown. Aaron Jones was okay. But really, it was an MVS kind of day. And there you go. Moving on to the next game, you got Washington at Detroit. The football team, or the Foreskins, as I like to call them, 27 points to Detroit's 30 because they lost on the last-second field goal. That Matt Prater hit 59 fucking yarder. Good for him. Good for him. I don't really care that much about kickers, but there are a few that I tend to root for, and Prater, he's solid. He's solid. 59-yarder, good shit. Good shit. Good shit, Prater. But the Lions played well without Kenny Golladay. They really did. I had Washington picked to win this game because I just see how much the Lions' offense is different without Golladay, but they really picked it up in this game, and that was because they were using a shit ton of DeAndre Swift, and that's what we like to see. They should have been doing more of that from the beginning, right? Right. But they weren't. But now, maybe, I don't know, because he had a good game a few games back, and that didn't materialize to like more of a workload, so maybe they have seen the light. But good to see from DeAndre Swift. I mean, he had 81 rush yards, and then he had 5 catches for 68 yards and a touchdown. Thank you again, DeAndre Swift. Marvin Jones chipped in 96 yards and a touchdown himself. And then on the Washington side, you had Antonio Gibson with a couple of TDs. McLaurin went over 100 all-purpose yards because he had a couple of rushes in there. And, Washington's kind of doing their thing this year, right? You're going to get some from Gibson and McLaurin. And you see Cam Sims popping every once in a while. Steven, you see guys every once in a while. Inman, when he's healthy, he could have a game here and there. But for the most part, you can rely on McLaurin and Gibson to give you a little something. That's about it. That's about it. Because where the fuck has Logan Thomas been? Where the fuck? He should be used more. Way more. I'm just saying. More Logan Thomas. Now I got to take a drink because it makes me mad. Some of these teams, they have these awesome fucking tight ends, and they don't use them. That's what I was saying about Irv Smith previously for the Vikings, and then they started using him. And then he was hurt. And now he's hurt. Not to play Monday night. That will stink. Anyway, moving on. Enough Gatorade. Let's keep this ship moving to the next game. You've got Houston at Cleveland. Is that my cat really scratching at the door? He was Houston at Cleveland. And what the fuck? When did either one of these defenses really start playing this good? I expected much more, especially from Deshaun Watson. But even the Baker Mayfield off. And don't get me wrong, welcome back Nick Chubb. Okay? Welcome back. 126 yards and a touchdown. And hey, Kareem Hunt went over 100 yards himself. But I just expected a lot more from this game. Points-wise, action-wise, everything. And it was really kind of turned into a bit of a defensive battle. And that's, what the fuck? 10-7. And Houston, there's just not even really anything to talk about. Their offense was just rough. Poor Duke Johnson. There goes that opportunity. Because David Johnson will probably be back next week. Just kind of a rough game all around. Not a whole lot to take from it at all. That is, yuck. Moving on. Now, this one, Tampa Bay visiting Carolina. This one. Bucks roll it, 46-23. Major bounce back for those Bucks. Brady had 4 total TDs, 3 passing, 1 rushing. Rojo had that big rip and run of the fucking whole field, and then he had a total of 93 yards and a touchdown. Fournette takes a back seat. Godwin led the receivers, 6 for 92. Antonio Brown did have 7 catches for 69 yards himself. Evans and Gronk both had a TD. So overall, good day for the Buccaneers offense. And then for Carolina, I mean, it was just Teddy struggled. Mike Davis struggled. Offense as a whole struggled. DJ Moore did go 96-1, which is, great if you love you some DJ Moore and you roster him and you play him and you start him, because he's been very up and down this year, unfortunately. But not a lot. See, I talk about how much things are starting to get better, and then I come in here and it's just tongue twisters. But anyway, moving on to the late games. First up, Chargers at the Dolphins. Justin Herbert versus Tua Tagovailoa. I listened to this Dan Le Batard show with Stu Gott's podcast, and if you know what that is, you're either a fan or you fucking hate it. But it's currently an ESPN property, but it's a good basically spoof of a sports radio show. So they talk sports and whatnot, but they very much talk other stuff and don't take themselves seriously at all, and are very much the anti sport talk show, if that makes sense. And they were not too long ago doing entries for songs about Tua, because they're a Miami-based show, and I had one that I didn't get to enter because again, a lot of stuff going on the past few weeks. But I had a song myself, and it was based on, a lot of people do like the parody type thing where you pick a song and then you invent your own lyrics. So I was going to go with Chop Suey, System of a Down, and go, Tua, 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 Tagovailoa, Tua, Tua, Tagovailoa, Tua, 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 Tagovailoa, Tua, Tua, Tagovailoa, the quarterback, Tua, Tua, Tagovailoa, don't take a sack. Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback. Tua Tagovailoa. I don't think you trust in my Ryan Fitzpatrick now. You start Tua Tagovailoa. Tua Tagovailoa. Tua Tagovailoa. See, I kind of messed it up. The first verse, there was a couple of times I threw one too many Tuas in there. But that's my Tua tribute song based on Chop Suey by System of a Down. And I just never entered it. I should still send it to them fuckers anyway. That's what I should do. Anyway, speaking of Tua, he had an okay game, but really both quarterbacks, both the rooks that everybody was excited to see, they were both solid, Herbert it wasn't one of his special games, and Tua, played well, did some good things, but nothing, super flashy. But they get the win, 29-21, the Dolphins do. And, hey, Kalen Ballage did lead the running backs for the Chargers. They must really hate Joshua Kelly. That's all I can think. They must really hate him, because they even 18 for 68, less than 4 yards. Kalen Ballage, whatever. Keenan Allen and Hunter Henry had TDs, but just, it's not as explosive a game from the Chargers as you've seen in the past. Miami They were just a tad better. They were just a tad better. And it wasn't anybody on Miami, or how should I put this? A lot of people were looking who would emerge from Miami's backfield with Myles Gaskin out. The answer, Salvon Ahmed. Now, this is a guy that I've looked at several times. Back when he was actually with JaMycal Hasty as an undrafted rookie on the 49ers. Okay? He started out, he was picked up originally by the 49ers. And I look at this guy's profile, and it's just, I mean, let's look. If I can get to it. Salvon Ahmed. But there's nothing overly spectacular about this profile. He's below average in all metrics. Below average in college dominator, yards per carry, college target share. So what is there I'm supposed to see here that is supposed to impress me? And yet here he is, leading the Dolphins. Football's crazy sometimes because I passed up on this guy because I'm just not into his profile. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to waste bench spots, anything like that, on somebody who's got a poor player profile. I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not going to. And here he is. 85 yards and a touchdown on 21 carries. Not bad. You have those because football is just weird. And speaking of football being weird, Jakeem Grant was the leading receiver for the Dolphins, which we knew he could get a little bit of a pickup, being that Isaiah Ford was shipped out to the Patriots and that Preston Williams hit the IR. But I really didn't expect him to be the leading receiver. But hey, 443 yards and a touchdown. 443 yards, Ryan, come on. Talk better. Talk better, Chatter. That's why your name's Chatter. You chat. Okay. Next up, let's get back to what we're doing. Next up, you got Denver at Las Vegas, and this was just, man. The Raiders beat the shit out of them. Drew Lock disappoints again. Did not look impressive at all. 4 interceptions. Jerry Jeudy led the receivers. He did end up playing 4 for 68 for him. Good job. KJ Hamler actually had 10 targets, so that's interesting, something to keep an eye on. He is definitely going to be involved in that offense. And then, basically, it was just the Las Vegas just ran the shit out of the ball all over the Broncos defense. I mean, it was a running machine. Josh Jacobs had 112 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Devontae Booker, 81 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, they just rammed the football down Denver's throat all fucking day. And they kept getting the ball back to do so because of the interceptions. You just got to wonder, there's a lot of talent on this Bronco team. And yes, they've been decimated by injuries. But things like this got to start making people wonder. Start making them wonder. That's next. I live in Denver, so I'm just going to go. Next. San Francisco at New Orleans. And, that offense, as predicted, would struggle. That San Francisco offense. Ayuk did hit 75 yards and a touchdown off 7 receptions, so good for him. But the run game. I mean, Jerick McKinnon. I mean, this is supposed to be the thing, the Shanahan special, the run game. And Jerick McKinnon. 18 carries, 33 yards. Just disappointing. But hey, you got to give the Saints D a lot of credit. They've been playing lights out the past few weeks. And Breeze, they need to play lights out now because Drew Brees, done at the half. Jameis Winston came in. He played pretty good. No interceptions. Probably a lot of people looking for is there. Is he going to throw an interception? No, but he did take a couple sacks, but played well in relief. But it was a very run-heavy game for the Saints. They were basically doing to the Niners what the Niners, do to other teams. And they had 3 guys, 8+ carries. Kamara, Taysom Hill, and Latavius Murray, who actually had 9. And then Kamara had 3 total TDs, 83 reception yards. It just kind of similar to Las Vegas and Denver. It was just kind of a just ground and pound game, and don't let just suffocate the opponent by taking that football and just, here, motherfuckers. Stop us. Stop us. Oh, you can't. Oh, you can't. We're just going to keep taking this football and shoving it right there. See what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh, sleep and food. As always, this is what I need. More sleep and some more food. No lie. And probably some more weed. Some more marijuana, if you know what I mean. And we'll move on. I know. I'm out of sorts. Of course, I've been saying that the last couple of pods. We know why. We do. We knew why. Seattle at L.A. Rams. Alex Collins sighting. Remember him? Remember him? Been out the league for a minute. He's back. 43 yards and a touchdown. But, man, blah offensive performance again. Like, talked about possibly some concerns in the last pod about these damn Seahawks. I love them. You love them. As fantasy-wise, we love the Seahawks. But you had to have some concerns about the past couple of weeks, and I picked the Rams to win this game because of that, and they did. It's just they're struggling right now. The Seahawks are. And part of that could be lack of a big running game, but they did have Alex Collins going a little bit today, and it's just, I don't know, the Rams D just clamped down on them. Russell Wilson was the leading rusher with 60 yards. It just, they don't have the defense they used to. They don't have the run game right now. So it's a lot on Russell Wilson's shoulders. And he's doing a commendable job. But, Seahawks definitely might not be as much of a contender as many originally thought. Yes, could be. Now, for the Rams, they finally gave Cam Akers a bunch of carries. But he got no touchdown because Malcolm Brown and Darrell Henderson got the touchdowns. And then you had Josh Reynolds leading the receivers with 94 yards off 8 catches. Been a very weird game. Like Josh Reynolds, hey, how's it going, man? Been a minute since I've seen you. And then Alex Collins, yeah, it's really been a minute since we've seen you, Mr. Alex Collins. And, I had thought that would be one of the games of the day, and it was just kind of bleh. But it was a game of the day. Circle the wagons on them Bills. Take them out to the desert. Arizona takes that one, 32-30. And boy, what a hell of a game. Game of the day. As I said, back and forth. Woo-wee. High scoring. They were just, Kyler Murray just going off. 3 total TDs. Kenyon Drake went for 100 yards. And then Nuke Hopkins. Blah. Let's try that again. Nuke Hopkins. That's right. Nuke Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins. 7 catches, 127 yards, and a touchdown. One of those catches and the touchdown that we speak of was at the very end of the game when Kyler Murray launched the ball down the field, Hail Mary, into the end zone, and Hopkins, among several Bills defenders, came down with the ball. It was fantastic. What a play. It was just a good game, crazy way to end it, a whole lot of fun. And the Bills, hey, they're right there. They were right there. They should have had that game. Very rarely do the Hail Marys, as I said previously at the beginning of the pod. How often does that shit work? The Hail Mary. It never works. Hardly ever. I shouldn't say never. Hardly ever. And it worked. It worked. The Bills got. Allen was solid. He did have a couple of interceptions. But they went back to having no fucking run game in this game, essentially. But, hey, Allen was airing it out. Beasley, 11 for 109 and 1, led receivers, but Diggs was right there for 93 yards and a touchdown. And, you got to give the Bills props. You got to. But you also got to think, man, Allen, you can't be throwing interceptions in these big games. You can't be doing that, buddy. You can't be doing that. So, hell of a battle between a couple of the top teams, and we move on to the top team at the moment. That's right, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they take care of business yet again against the Cincinnati Bengals, the visiting Cincinnati Bengals. 36-10 was the final score, and Cincy just struggled. It was a big day for T. Higgins, 7 catches, 115 yards, and a touchdown. But otherwise, not a whole lot going on with this offense. Joe Mixon was out, and I expected Gio would do something, but it was rough outing for Burrow and the Bengals yesterday, whatever. Once again, full transparency, if you've listened for a while, I record this Sunday night. But I also often try and speak as though it's Monday, because that's when the podcast will come out. But sometimes, almost every podcast, in fact, episode, I tend to give it away, right? Because I can't keep the shit straight. This is why you just don't lie. It's shit like this. This isn't even a lie. I guess you could consider it a lie, huh? I guess you could. But, just trying to make it seem, there's really no reason to, is there? All right, now we're getting completely off track. As I was saying, Pittsburgh looks damn good, man. Ben, despite being on the COVID list and banged up knees and all that, 4 touchdowns. Deontay Johnson had 6 catches for 116 yards and a touchdown. Juju had another one of Ben's touchdowns with 77 yards. Chase Claypool had the other 2 touchdowns. You got to wonder about James Conner. Not doing so hot. Not doing so hot at all the past few weeks. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. The Steelers' run game situation. But all around good performance from the Steelers. They kill it. They continue to go on to be the only undefeated team left in the NFL. And then we have Sunday Night Football. Everyone had the Patriots winning this shit, right? Fuck me. Shocker. The Ravens offense held in check by this fucking Patriots defense that has played like shit as of recent. They really showed up tonight. Lamar had a couple of touchdowns to Willie Snead, but other than that, not much going for this offense at all. New England D really played well, and they themselves didn't have a lot going on in the offense, not much in the passing game. Jacoby Myers did have 5 catches, 59 yards, but the story with him is he also threw a touchdown. That's right, to Rex Burkhead. And then Cam Newton threw another touchdown to Rex Burkhead. So Rexy had 2 TDs. But don't forget about Damian Harris, who was questionable going into the game. He played over 100 yards again, 121 to be exact. So, hey, you got some good things from the Patriots tonight. So maybe it's not all doom and gloom for them, because that's certainly, I was wrong about that. I thought they were going to get fucking run out of the building. Like, literally, because we run all over them and then run them out. Yeah, I thought Baltimore was going to win this one pretty easily. And it became evident pretty early on that that's not the case. So, hell of a game for New England. This is more what I expected to see, a little bit closer to what I expected to see when Cam first joined them. So, good to see a good game from them. And, used to fucking hate the Patriots. But at a point, I just started to respect them, even though I still found them annoying. And then you break up the coach and the quarterback, and it's like, oh, this should be interesting. Brady on the Bucs, and that's been going great so far. And then Bill, he's sitting here, and a lot of people dogging him, like, oh, well, I guess Tom Brady, he's doing well in Tampa Bay. I guess it was the coach, not the coach, it was the quarterback. Shut up. Shut up. Man. Belichick's good shit. Belichick is good. And even with him, so finding this quarterback, I'm starting to come around on him a little bit too. As far as, a little more than respect, because I've respected what he's been able to do. But coming around on him as an individual, he doesn't seem quite the curmudgeon I once thought he was. Anyway. What a fucking week, people.
May I please have your attention? The store will be closing in 5 minutes.
That's right. It's that time. And this pod shut this shit down, you know what I mean? I can go get some of that food and sleep I've been talking about. But before we go, the trade deadline. Now, maybe in some leagues that's, today. Maybe it's tomorrow. But it's around that time. Maybe your trade deadline's already passed. And I did mean to mention this a week or two ago, to be honest. But another one of those things where the past few weeks have been so fucking nuts and crazy. And it's just been hard to get everything done that I've wanted to get done, as I mentioned. So, here we go. My thoughts on trade deadline. If you're playoff bound, and you could use a little juice to the roster, go for it. Because you can always get prospects, draft picks, the things people normally look for in a trade if they're giving you some. You can get that stuff back. You can. By trading away players yourself. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to give this first round pick to get this guy. I'll never see it again. No, you can give up a guy to get one back. You can do the same thing. I feel like people forget about that sometimes. Hey, I've done it myself. Not really by design, more because it was the 2020 draft. I didn't have any picks, and nobody wanted to give me any picks, even for good players, because it was the 2020 draft. At least not any high picks. Because it was the 2020 draft. But yes, if you're playoff bound, juice up your roster if you can. Don't sell the farm, but do what you can to kind of juice it up, see if you can give yourself any kind of advantage going into the playoffs. And one thing you really need to pay attention to, schedules. Some people don't, think a lot about this, but I do. And it's more than just standard. You really got to look at, if you're going to make a move, is that player's schedule, is it, what's the fucking word I'm looking for? Oh, now we're falling apart. Is it appealing? I'm going to go with that word. That's not the word I was searching for, but that's the word I'm going to go for. Is that schedule appealing? As far as, does it look like playing some teams where they're going to be able to score some fucking points? It's not the end-all, be-all, but take that shit into consideration. If you're specifically trading for a player to help you in the playoffs, probably make sure they don't got a shitty playoff schedule. You know what I'm saying? That's all. That's all. And obviously, if you're not playoff bound, get rid of those older players. Me, more and more, I'm starting to get rid of the running backs, younger and younger, because I know, like Dalvin Cook, to me, feels like a good year to sell Dalvin Cook. He's crushing it. You could probably get a lot for him. And even if he doesn't start to decline next year, it'll likely be the year after that. It just might be worth hitting the gold mine, the jackpot with him while you can. So yes, you want to try and gain those picks. And that's what's wonderful about Dynasty. And see, I like to be somewhere around in the middle where I'm competing, but I can still, at the end of every year, sell some people, make some trades, get some picks, get some other players. I did a lot of that this year. So it's good to be able to be flexible and willing to trade. And, it's just one of my favorite things about fantasy football, to be honest, is trading. The issue with trading is not everybody is good at fantasy football trading. That's a whole nother conversation. Anyway, so make sure you get your rosters in order. We got 3 weeks left, and then the fantasy playoffs are starting. So get your house in order, motherfucker. That's right. And we might as well, before we get out of here, get into a little bit of a Thursday night football prognosis. That's right. And I'm going to keep this short and sweet, you know. Really a former Vikings fan. And I kind of denounced it. I'm just kind of over it. And really, I'm kind of over being a fan of any team in football, particularly now that I'm really covering it more and more and seriously. Because there's really so much heartache in football. There really is. And I just got tired of the Vikings, and particularly after the extension of... And the Vikings became near and dear to my heart because of my time spent in the Midwest. When you live in Iowa, who has no sports team, you usually become a fan of one of the teams from the NFC North. And Kansas City's pretty close, so there are some Chiefs fans there as well. But I always rooted for the Vikings, and I just had to kind of stop doing it. And now, for the first time all season, I'm kind of feeling a little, not attached to them again, but it's like I'm excited for them, for their fan base, for Vikings fans, because I know what it feels like. They're not going to go on to win the Super Bowl or even make the playoffs with the way they started, but to see them really ramping it up a little bit, it's kind of nice, right when they were counted out. And I think they're going to crush the fucking Bears because this Bears offense struggles. They didn't have a run game in the first place, really. David Montgomery. But now they really got nothing because no David Montgomery. Tariq Cohen was lost a long time ago. Artavis Pierce, he ain't it. Ryan All, he ain't it. They ain't it. Sorry. They ain't it. And now, you got the Vikings coming into town. And they know you don't have shit for a run game. So they're going to be able to keep some people back and cover the receivers a little bit better. And it's going to be interesting to see how Minnesota plays this. It is in Chicago, where Minnesota does struggle a little bit. But I just feel like the Bears are going in the wrong... Two teams going in different directions, right? Bears started off hot, have struggled since. The Vikings started off ice cold and have heated up as of late. But the biggest thing is I think Dalvin Cook's found his groove, man. And I don't think the Bears, even though they got a pretty good D, they're not going to stop Dalvin Cook. They're just not. I just don't. He's not going to be stopped. He won't be stopped. And no Irv Smith, as I mentioned before earlier. So I really think you're going to see some Thielen and Jefferson in this game. And I just think they're just playing better right now. Minnesota is as a whole. And I see another bad game from Chicago. But, again, Minnesota's nothing special either. So, wouldn't surprise me if Chicago pulls it off either. Anyway, that's what I've got for you, people. That's what I've got for you. And, again, much appreciated for everyone joining, listening, and, hang with me. I know I had some mishaps with the mini madness, and as I said, we're all struggling right now in our own different ways, right? Like, there's not a whole lot about 2020 that's been easy for most people, So, as I'm getting through my own stuff and I'm still trying to do my thing and put shit out, get this content out, and get my thoughts and feelings and opinions out, as I'm still trying to do all that, I do know that there are some that may walk away. Hell, during all the election stuff, politics, you get people that lose interest and decide to unfollow you because they don't like you bringing politics into their sports or whatever. People have their own reasons. But I really do appreciate anyone that's been listening and continues to listen, no matter how crazy this shit gets, no matter how often I flub my words and tongue twist myself and lose my train of thought. So I appreciate all of you who stick through and consider themselves madcaps and part of this whole mad thing that we do here. So, that being said, I also want to highly advise you to check out New Japan Pro Wrestling. I gotta mention that. I just mention it all the time because I love it. It's awesome. It's entertaining. And I think you need some good entertainment these days, right? Right? Yes. So let's get the fuck out of here. Let's get the fuck out of here. Once again, much love to everyone. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. Don't work too hard. I'll try not to as well. On this day, on regular work, this stuff I'll grind my ass off. But regular work, let's just put it this way. 20 plus years of the restaurant industry. Yeah. That's just how it makes me feel sometimes. That's just saying. Just saying. That's how it makes me feel. But again, have a great week, everyone. Much love to you all. Stay safe. Stay vigilant. Stay mad. That's right. Because all the best of us are. Oh, mad. That is. Yes. And ta-ta for now. We'll chat again soon. Laters.
Welcome to the show.